Hello out there, my friends. It is I, Hondo Onaka. Now you know what to do. You must tune in to my favorite podcast, the Fiveish Fangirls. Otherwise, there could be consequences.
The tangents this week continue all the way to episode 437 of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. As a Jedi, sometimes you have to make the decision no one else can. Welcome, everyone, to this week's episode of the Fiveish Fangirls podcast. So glad you joined us. Let's start off like a Druid for the virtual table and see who's joined us this week.
This is Chrissy in Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Hello.
So sorry about our disappearance last week, but 'tis the season for just gunk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And if we're lucky if all four of us are healthy at the same time this time of year. So
True.
and it's only just started.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I had some car trouble that kind of had me stranded on the other side of the valley for a little while, plus a meeting, plus a bunch of other stuff. So last Monday was just a
Yeah,
So,
and now Brittany's
yes,
sick this week. So it's we make
So,
do with
we
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 can.
take our vitamins, all that good stuff, and it still gets you.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
There's only so much you could do, unfortunately.
Yep.
Yep.
So we're keeping on.
Yeah, but we're back. So
Yep.
yeah, here we go.
As
So-
good as we can be. So
Mhm.
so news, got a little bit of news from across the pond. So we got to hear before it plays on the TV the updated Doctor Who theme for the upcoming series. Murray Gold is back doing the music. So yeah, they posted that up on social media of the orchestra playing it, and oh my god. Like, I love the Doctor Who theme in every iteration ever, but there's just something about hearing it, an updated version, because they do that whenever we get a new Doctor, and who knows if this is going to be the version that continues through the 15th Doctor. I'm assuming so, that they would not change it after 4 specials. But yeah, this I've listened to it several times. I get chills every single time. I'm like, love it. Suck that in. So and then BBC has teamed up with Toshiba, the electronics company. They make TVs and stuff like that. And they are doing Doctor Who Beyond the Screen. So for the 60th anniversary, it is going to be a live interactive Q&A panel session. It's if you want to attend in person, it's invite only, unfortunately. But it's gonna be on Saturday the 9th of December at a top secret London location. But it will be live streamed on Twitch and on the Doctor Who official YouTube channel. And if you are over the age of 18 and live in the UK, you can enter to win tickets, which will include an immersive aspect as well, props and costumes, I'm assuming. So
So if
yeah,
any of our UK listeners go and enter that contest.
And if you
and
win,
win,
take all the
go be-
pictures
be-
and then tell us all about it.
go be our frogs on the street, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
We can
Yes.
we can pay you in gratitude, and maybe we'll mail you some cookies.
Yeah.
Point is, if you do go, send us feedback.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
That would
probably I could buy you a gift card to Tesco.
Yeah.
That's a thing, right?
Yep.
So, but yeah, that's I'm glad that they're live streaming it too. So,
yeah.
I'm sure there's going to be all sorts of surprise things involved, like they do. But obviously this will be after the 60th, but sounds like they're wanting to extend the fun beyond the actual 23rd of November. So that's cool.
It's all right.
Yep. And then if you're a fan of the Lego animation stuffs, dropping this Friday as we're recording this, so that's the 27th of October on Disney Plus, is Lego Marvel Avengers Code Red, where the best I from the trailer that dropped is the collector has decided that his is as impressive as his collection is, it's still not perfect, and therefore he wants to start collecting Avengers. And as Avengers start to go missing and added to the collector's collection, they have to get some help from a certain well, it's Lego, so he won't be foul-mouthed, but he's still got a bad
Senior Deadpool?
No, a certain adamantium skeleton
Senior Lobo. Senior Wolverine.
Senior Logan. So a certain Wolverine has to give up his Saturday plans to help save the Avengers. So you want to see the Avengers team up with one of the X-Men, specifically Wolverine. Until we get that in live action, here is your opportunity. So
I would love to see a Tony Stark Wolverine face off.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's not ever going to happen. At least not in our current timeline.
I know. A girl can hope, though.
Yeah, that's going to have to be
buy the little Lego figures, and you've recreated on your
yeah
in the comfort of your own home.
Yep.
And then have Xavier come in, Professor X, and just smack them both at the side of the head.
Yep.
Can you tell I thought about this?
Yep.
Just a little.
A little bit.
So. But
oh,
yeah,
come on. Hugh Jackman, RDJ, and Sir Patrick Stewart in the same room together? Come on.
That would be an event.
Yes. Oh, what the heck? Throw Magneto in for good measure, too.
Oh, why not?
As long as we're going there, instead of the trifecta, let's go for the 4.
Oh, of course.
Yep. So, but that should be fun. I like the Lego stuff. I mean, Lego Batman, one of the DC best movies ever. You know, using a DC character. So
Yep. My kids.
No argument there. No argument there.
I cannot tell you how many times my children have watched the Lego Batman movie, or how much they quote it. At this point. And they watched the Lego movie as well, but I think Lego Batman, in terms of number of times watched, edges it out by just a hair. But yes, they love that movie. And also, I have to say, that little scene where, Batman's like, "No, I don't want to do that," and he's like, "No, no, no." Guess how many times? Guess what I get a response of when I say, "Hey, it's time for bath," or "It's time for bed." No, 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 no. No. From a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old. And I can't even be mad because they're so freaking adorable when they do. But I have to be firm. Either way. It's like, nah, you
like, mommy's not going to allow you to watch that movie.
like no more watching Lego Batman. He's teaching you bad things.
Yeah.
But I like it too, so I don't know. It's very interesting.
So you pick your battles.
You do. You really do.
Yeah.
Some fights are just not worth it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, here's hoping that this one is good. So.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is always the hope.
Yeah.
We hope and pray.
So there is that. And then over on our YouTube channel, there have been a few uploads. So we have up the video from Indie PopCon this year.
Yay!
So that is up. See all the 10-year shenanigans, including the madness that was having, what was it, 4 or 5 local sports team mascots in one place at one time. So
Yes.
That's always chaos.
Yeah, it was.
I'm surprised no fisticuffs were thrown to.
Yeah, no, they get along. They got along fairly well, actually.
Oh,
so
good.
it was just navigating
Mhm.
the crowd with that many creatures with oversized heads and or oversized body parts is not easy.
Yeah,
even if
sometimes
you're
those
just
mascot feet can be
just a
huge.
single one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like I spent half a season with the Pacers. I know enough just from from their mascot, seeing him navigate his way around. So so there is that, and then also a little sneak preview video from American Horrorplex. So I had to get permission to make sure it wasn't giving away too much before it could go up. So, but they did
Makes
approve it,
sense.
so that it is there. So, so that is on our YouTube channel. So, and then hopefully I will get up this video from Cincinnati up soon-ish. So
it's always a work in progress.
it is. So moving on to feedback from Shalane. She says, at first I thought you girls were going to talk about Ahsoka this week because I had my feedback and my history of Ahsoka all prepared, but next time, haha. We shall look forward to your Ahsoka feedback after you hear this.
Yes.
Indeed.
We surprised you. Although I know she just finished watching Only Murders in the Building. So she started watching it and finished it. She said she did like it. So
well, that's good.
So that is good. Said I read about this season of The Crown, and they said they'll mention the Queen's death in this season. Good to know. I figured they would probably tack something on,
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. She says, also, you girls going to talk about the Crown seasons 2 through 6. I think I remember you talked about the first season. Yes, we did talk about the first season. We'll probably wait till it's done. So
Yeah, I think so. 'Cause at
And
this
then kind
point,
of
we're
do a
like,
recap in general.
yeah,
mhm.
yeah. So knowing full and well that we knew when it was going to end, and then also considering what has happened in real life, let's kind of wait until it finishes, then see how it matches up to what has actually occurred.
Correct. Yes.
It's always interesting when there's like a mini series, a movie, a biopic, whatever, about a person's life and they're still alive. Although I don't know that I'm trying to think if there's ever been a series like this where it's like, okay, it's about this person who's alive and we're going to go through their whole life, and then there's still a lot of big events that happen that you're like, oh yeah, we're going to want to cover that in later seasons, obviously. But it's like, it's an interesting concept, interesting phenomenon. I think with this is we're like watching it unfold, or we're watch see all these events happen, and we're like, oh, I wonder what that episode of The Crown is going to be like when they get there. So yeah, it's very, very interesting way of storytelling, I guess. Yeah. So yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah. So, and then she said this interesting feedback, and I think this is because I think we tend to be on very a lot of the same pages and profiles on social media. And there is a Facebook page called The Perks of Being a Fangirl. And
vaguely familiar, yep.
Yeah, and she did she occasionally does fandom brackets. And she did one for like best fictional character, something. In the last 2 years, it's been David Tennant's Doctor, the 10th Doctor, has won. So, but right now, she is doing iconic duos, and I think she also recently did trios as well. So, but right now the current bracket is iconic duos. And it was just people commenting, giving their nominations, and then based on her own ones that made sense, and then kind of cultivated it together into a giant bracket. And we're still doing the initial rounds because there's just so many.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah, but I think that's where Shalane got this inspiration from to send us lists of her favorite duos and trios. So I don't necessarily want to read all of them because it's kind of long.
Yeah, and it's just names. I mean,
yeah,
we just kind of be like,
yeah. I mean, I totally agree on some of these that, some of these are very iconic. Lilo and Stitch, Mario and Luigi, Rocket and Groot.
Oh yeah.
Then she also said some of her favorite trios: Powerpuff Girls, of course, the Sanderson sisters, our golden trio from Harry Potter. So yeah.
Why did it have to be you three?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, if anyone wants to jump in with the quote unquote official social media, if you want to jump in on that, I'll put a link to the Facebook page. Obviously you have to have Facebook to be able to do it, but it is kind of fun. You just use the different emoji faces, the reactions that are built into Facebook to do your vote, and then she will count them from there and move on. So, but she's having to do, like, right now it's 3, it's not, so and obviously it'll narrow down, but yeah, I just thought that was kind of funny. I was like, I think that's where Shalane got that idea from. So there are definitely some ones that I would not have thought of that are in the tournament, and there are some that, like, oh, I recommended that one. I'm sure I'm not the only one, but there have been a few where I'm like, oh, I suggested that one.
Yeah. How's that saying go? Great minds think alike.
Mm-hmm. Like a certain Chocolate Thunder and his baby girl from the FBI.
Yep.
Yep.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Yep. Yeah. So,
and are our 2 spooky feds on the list too?
I would have to go and look.
Okay.
They might not have just been revealed yet, because if they have, if they've not already been revealed to vote on, she's covered up that part of the bracket, so we don't know what hasn't been posted yet. So
okay,
keeping us all on our toes. I'm still waiting for a Michael Sheen bracket.
Oh yeah.
So because once David Tennant won, like, the favorite character, then she did a specific David Tennant bracket. David Tennant characters, and I'm pretty sure that Crowley won.
Not surprising.
Multiple times I have commented, and I'm like, okay, so we need the other side of that coin. We need a Michael Sheen bracket.
Yes, we do.
So, especially considering, little side tangent here. At least I think as we're recording this on the 23rd of October, YouTube has all the Twilight movies available for free to watch, just with ads. I've never watched any of the Twilight movies. I have no desire to sit and watch all 4 Twilight movies in their full oh so angsty glory that is Twilight. However,
but then he has Charlie, who is like the best character ever.
Yeah,
Bella's dad is
yeah. However, because they were right there, and I had a little bit of time to kill, and they were up for free, I put them on 1.25 speed to start, and then proceeded to scrub through each movie to just the scenes where Michael Sheen is on screen. So, pretty much anything with Volturi, and that's about it. So, I hate watched Twilight, and by hate watched, I mean I sped it up and only watched the bits that Michael Sheen is in. So, there. That is the most of watching Twilight you were ever going to get out of me. So yeah. That being said, I still want that Michael Sheen bracket. So Aziraphale will probably win whenever it happens, I'm sure. So alrighty. So that's our feedback. So of course, if I made my list of favorite duos, of course Aziraphale and Crowley would be on there. But we are moving on to what Shalane was expecting last episode, which is Ahsoka. We got our or as some people are calling it, Star Wars Rebels Season 5.
Pretty much.
The live
It pretty
action
much
edition.
is. It's Rebels Season 5 just in live action. I mean, there are a couple of scenes that they pulled straight from Rebels and just recreated them in live action. So
I'm not complaining, mind you. I'm not complaining. No, not
Yeah.
at all.
yeah, this kind of picks up where Rebels ended, but backtracks a little.
I mean, in live action Chopper, come on.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not
then
that
a
I'm
few others.
complaining, because I love me some Rebels, and I love Chopper, and yeah, I love pretty much all droids. But I think my new favorite at the moment is Huang.
That too, yeah. Yes, voiced by a certain someone.
Yes, it doesn't hurt
No.
that he's voiced by David Tennant.
Nope.
So yeah,
I mean, get him and C-3PO in the same room.
Yeah.
This would be real interesting.
Well, I mean, if things had worked out a little different, that could have happened. But it didn't this time around.
No.
So yeah. So Ahsoka season 1 essentially picks up at the end of Rebels, but also is running parallel-ish to The Mandalorian. So this is post the OG trilogy. But also obviously several years before the Disney trilogy picks up. So we're still dealing with the Empire, the fall of the Empire, quote unquote fall of the Empire.
Yeah.
And the New Republic trying to pick up the pieces, but there's still people that are loyal to the Empire.
And trying to sniff those thin factions out.
Yes, and in the meantime, there are people that aren't necessarily loyal to the Empire, they're just loyal to the power that the Empire offers. So, which means there's still bad news. And if you watch, I've seen and heard from some people that are all like, if you didn't watch Rebels, for the most part, you'll probably be okay. Although there's a few episodes you probably should watch, even if you don't watch the entire series. Honestly, I almost say you should watch all of Rebels. Honestly, if not some of the Clone Wars.
Oh yeah.
Because you kind of have, because I mean, they threw this older version of Ahsoka at us in The Mandalorian slash Book of Boba Fett slash whatever. And if you didn't watch the Clone Wars cartoon, then you don't, I mean, they gave us a little, but you don't really know what kind of like burden and trauma she's walking around with, which we talked about this a little when we talked about when she first appeared, because she walked away from the Jedi for a number of reasons. One, their hypocrisy. Two, she got accused of murder, which she did not do. So there are a lot of reasons for her to walk away. And in the process, obviously things like Order 66 happened. And then Anakin
her master
turns
going a little deep endy
to the dark side, and she feels guilty for that because she thinks if she had been there that somehow she could have stopped Anakin from turning to the dark side. And I'm like, if his wife and mother of his child slash children
couldn't do that.
And his best friend in Obi-Wan couldn't stop him. I'm sorry, Snips, but
Yeah,
you're kind of thinking a little high of yourself there if you think you could have stopped Anakin from turning to the dark side. I know it's like survivor's guilt and all of that,
right?
But at the same time, it's like, girl, screw your head back on straight.
Yeah. I don't even think the three of them together could have staged an intervention that would have worked.
No, there was no saving Anakin because
he didn't want to be saved.
He didn't want to be saved
at that particular time.
No.
It took his son to do it.
Yeah. Well, and who's to say that wasn't what the Force intended, that wasn't his destiny? Obi-Wan was all like, you're supposed to be the chosen one, and I'm like, is he, or is he just supposed to father the chosen one?
Right.
Yeah.
To paraphrase something that you would say to the quote unquote chosen one who says a certain point of view.
Yes,
exactly.
Like genetically you're 50% of the chosen one. How's that?
Yes.
And also they never got that prophecy right ever. It's bringing balance to the Force.
Yeah.
And it's like it's that old trope, and I think some of it is probably partially true, is there's these old prophecies from way back when that we've passed them all down and we think we know what they mean, but do we really know what it means? Just because and like that's why religion is such a hotly debated topic, because everyone says, well, I read it and this is what it says. Like, no, I read the same thing and this is what it says. And it's just kind of like, okay, guys, whatever. Just don't hurt each other.
We agree to disagree.
Yes. And you know what? Maybe you're both wrong. Maybe your deity is going to show up one day and look at you both and like, well, you tried. Points for that.
Yeah.
But no.
No. Just no.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
go to your corner and think about what you've done.
Yeah.
Because anyway, but yeah, I mean it's a lot more poignant that Luke is the one to save Anakin and not people who knew him before, I guess. And because Luke doesn't know Vader beyond, oh, you're my father, but then he gets with the Force, and like he says, he senses the good in him, and even though everybody is like, no, he's bad, he's evil, he's this, and Luke never knew him as Anakin until the very end, even. But it's like, I don't know, it's something that probably should have been worth exploring, like having Luke and Ahsoka have an actual conversation about this. Maybe it would have been
what was
helpful.
my dad really like?
Yes, because everybody else who knew him was dead.
Yeah.
And get the I'm going to tell it this way subterfuge from Obi-Wan.
Yeah.
Because something tells me Ahsoka would tell it like it is.
Yeah. I was like, you think maybe that would be a conversation they could have had when Luke was training Grogu and Ahsoka came to visit?
Yeah.
It's like, don't make the same mistakes your dad made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And because in going back from a certain point of view, they're kind of siblings in a sense, because Master and Padawan have a very generally have a very parent-child relationship. Obi-Wan and Anakin were more brothers,
right?
But generally it's supposed to be because Jedi don't typically have their own kids, but they have Padawans. But like, okay,
they're not supposed to develop attachments.
Yeah, right. But here's Anakin's Padawan, with his son. It's like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
You do not see the rife storytelling opportunity, and yeah, you'll have to recast Luke or do a deep fake or something, but let's do it. Come on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Missed opportunities.
Yeah. So crap has happened. So this Ahsoka is not the bubbly, Ashley Eckstein voiced Ahsoka.
No.
This
She
Ahsoka
stands
has she has grown up, whether
She's
wants
seen
to
some
or not.
stuff.
Yes. Yeah,
She-
which
she
is it.
stands and
Even
she
now,
folds her arms a
it's
lot.
but even now, it's I sometimes struggle to reconcile that, just because for the longest time, Ahsoka was just this young looking and sounding,
Mhm.
future Jedi Master who was essentially making Anakin go through what he made Obi-Wan go through when he was his Padawan. The cycle just continues, and then we see that is going to essentially continue with
it's kind of like the mother's wish.
Yeah,
You know, when you grow up to have a Padawan, I hope he's not as bad as you were.
Yeah, and the same thing is good. Yeah, well, and they pretty much pointed out with Sabine because she was Ahsoka's Padawan at one point, and then the whole Battle of Lothar happened, and Ezra went off. He disappeared with Thrawn. And Sabine had promised Ezra that she would stay on Lothal and watch over and all that stuff. So, she walked away from her Jedi training, and Ahsoka went off to essentially do the stuff that we've seen her do in The Mandalorian. But when Ahsoka is talking about it with, I think, Huang, or maybe Hera, or maybe both at some point.
I can't remember. It was a few of them.
Yeah, where she was talking about how, she walked away from her Jedi training, and it's like, well, Sabine did the same thing. So it's like, and Sabine also makes her want to bang her head up against the wall, just like she did with an Anakin, just like Anakin did with Obi-Wan. So it's like, there's a nice through line when it comes to master and apprentice relationships. It's like I want you to be the best Jedi you can be, but you're gonna butt heads with each other.
Yeah, it's just like they threw the trainer's owner's manual right out the window.
Oh yeah, the TARDIS flying manual right into. It's right. It's in a black hole right with the TARDIS, manual. So,
and somewhere Yoda's just going,
yeah,
shaking head.
Yeah, he's like,
died. This is
it's like words I do not have.
Yes. Dagobah, good place for me.
Yeah, frustrate me, you do. That's why I know come back as Force Ghost too often.
Pretty much.
Yeah. So
give a sick reason have I.
Yeah. So at this point, as we saw at the end of The Mandalorian, Morgan Elsbeth had been arrested. And first order of business is to get her sprung by Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, who are master and apprentice. However, they were Jedi. He was a Jedi master, and she was his Padawan. They are not Sith either, though. These are dark Jedi, which is
There is a difference.
yes, there is a difference. So you know how you can tell, because their lightsabers are orange.
Not quite red.
Yes. So they're still not good guys.
No.
Yeah, but they're not quite Sith either, though. So
They're kind of straddling that fine line, and they're heading towards
Yes.
Sith.
yeah.
Something like that. Although, and this gets into like the deep lore of the expanded universe. There are actually light side Sith. So explain that one. But
Yeah.
yeah, but that's the novels and some of the video games and stuff. But it gets very intriguing, and there's some rich ground for storytelling exploration if anybody ever wants to bother to do it. But
Hint.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
This particular this series, I mean, this set of episodes in the Star Wars universe, well, obviously because we have Thrawn, pulls a lot from the Timothy Zahn novels, because that's where Thrawn comes from. But they also pull a lot from several video games for this as well. So obviously there's a lot of expanded universe, and obviously Disney is cherry picking what works best for the story that they want to tell.
Yes.
But at the same time, don't sleep on the video games.
No.
They
nice.
pull a lot from those as well.
I will hear it. Jared would be mad at me if I didn't. I have to put in a plug for Knights of the Old Republic.
Yes.
It's blocky. Yes, but the story is very, very good.
Yes, the storytelling in that is
I will not like. I mean, it's so old. Jared can play it on his phone. I mean, it was. I can't remember when. What was it? Was it Nintendo 64 or GameCube? I can't remember.
I can't remember. It was one of the Nintendo systems, but I know that you can download it as a game
mobile
for
app.
Your phone. Mobile app, which is nice.
And there is a version for the Switch as well, but it's just straight port. But yeah, so,
I know there was one desktop one for the Old Republic or the Knights too.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republics were released on original Xbox 360, Microsoft Windows, Apple, Xbox One, Xbox Series XS, and Android.
Okay.
So yeah, it's a lot of places, but it's in terms of storytelling, it's great. So
yes.
If you're a graphics snob, put that aside and just play the dang thing. I don't want to say too much about it because big spoilers.
Well, and it's also specifically look into Star Wars Rebellion, which was released in 1998, and Star Wars The Old Republic from 2011. And then also the Dark Horse comic book series Dark Empire from 1991.
Yes.
So they're going back a ways. Yes.
Yeah.
And also,
Dark Empire is good, and it there's a sequel to that, and oh yes, very, very good.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't like, you have to do all these things to understand what Disney's doing, but if you want to know where some of this lore comes from, and see where it started, it's an option. And also, obviously, Jedi Survivor, which is a lot more recent, but was a surprisingly good video game, especially since EA was the one who made it, and they're not. They don't have the shiniest reputation.
Yeah, sometimes EA with their Star Wars stuff was a little hit or miss at times.
Yeah,
still
but
good.
this one proves the adage of blind squirrel finds a nut.
Yes. Good analogy there, Chrissy.
Yeah. So that one's good. I have not seen the sequel to that one yet. But yeah, it was Jedi Survivor was the first one. Right now I'm downing myself. Cal Kestis is the main character.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, wait. Okay, not Survivor. It's the one before that. Fallen Order. Jeez, why am I?
Yeah.
But yeah, Fallen Order was awesome.
Yeah.
Survivor's the one I haven't played or seen yet.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't have. We have Xbox One. We don't have PlayStation 5 or any of that other stuff. But there you go.
Yep. So if you want to dig a little deeper, you can. And then, of course, the Thrawn novels by Timothy Zahn. So
yes.
Which I've been listening to the audiobooks. So I want to go that route.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, I mean, they're obviously they're setting up. That's the one thing with this series is like there isn't really like any huge like thing that I mean, other than Thrawn getting freed, that's kind of a big deal, but there's not like anything like like huge revelations or anything like really major that happens in this series, because they're setting up for right now, written in pencil, of course, is the next season of The Mandalorian, probably another season of Ahsoka, and then we're supposed to get a Thrawn movie, if not a trilogy of movies for each novel. Pulling at least somewhat from the Zahn novels. So that is the plan right now.
Right.
Of
course, that is all very loose, because as we've seen with Star Wars, they will announce stuff and then
and then it just
bye-bye.
Vanishes from the public consciousness.
Exactly.
Even at the point where they do a promo video, Patty Jenkins.
Yes. Yeah. So
Rogue Squadron, never heard
that
of it.
And the oh crap, what's the new series with Jude Law? Was it Skeleton Crew? Something like that.
Yeah.
That is also supposed to tie in theory. So but we shall see. So because I was kind of waiting for like some big bombshell or something, but at the same time I'm like, no, we're supposed to be getting a movie, at least one movie. Like the whole Thrawn thing, he is the Thanos of Star Wars, and therefore he is going to do things on his schedule, on his terms. We were introduced to Thanos in 2012, and he didn't really become a threat until 2018. So it's going to be kind of the same thing with Thrawn, where he's got a plan. And he's not in a hurry. I mean, he's been off in this not even this distant planet, it's a completely different system, technically in a different universe than the Star Wars universe we're used to, and he's just been biding his time, him and his witchy friends, and just hanging out, building up their resources, even though he knows Ezra Bridger is also out there and people are going to come looking for Ezra. It's like he could have gotten rid of that, and that meant less likely somebody would come looking for him, but still he didn't do that he's not concerned about expending any extra energy if he doesn't have to. So yeah, you got to keep that in mind if you're, if you're watching this, or, I don't know why you'd be listening to this if you've not watched it yet, but whatever. But yeah, don't expect this to be like anything like major, because this is the setup for something bigger down the line. So you're gonna kind of keep that up.
To keep the cards pretty close to the vest.
Oh yes, yeah. That's the thing with Thrawn. I mean, we've seen Thrawn in animated form, so the character is not new. Again, if you've been watching the cartoons, and he's also voiced by Mr. Mickelson, Mads' brother.
Yep.
As well. So this is a cartoon to live action. It's the same person. Obviously they're not doing that with everybody, but in this case they did. And if you don't know, you're like, he doesn't seem that menacing.
Oh, but he is.
But he is. He's one of those where it's the quiet ones that you really got to watch out for, because that's a sign of somebody that's just they're very cerebral.
Mm-hmm.
So you got your baddies that are just going to come out guns blazing or whatever, just beating up and shooting and destroying whatever and not thinking about it to get the job done. And then you got people like Thrawn, who
he's kind of like
it's like playing chess.
And
it's like playing chess with someone, but you can't see the chessboard, but they can.
Mm-hmm. Or you don't know when you're walking into their spider web trap.
Yeah. So it's very dangerous game to play, and that's what makes Thrawn such a compelling baddie.
Oh yes,
for where we are and in the Star Wars universe. So,
and another scene, the waters run deep. Oh yeah,
yes.
Thrawn be ocean level.
Yeah. So he's but first they gotta find him first, and to do that, we gotta get the rebel crew together. So we've got Ahsoka, who is keeping in touch with Hera, Syndulla, and they, after Elsbeth gets sprung and takes off, then those two team up to try figure out what the hell is going on. They need help. They need Sabine's help. Of course Sabine is all like, okay, whatever. Yeah. Because Sabine's, she's got a chip on her shoulder too, because she feels bad about what happened to Ezra and how he's gone missing, and haven't figured out a way to find him after all this time. But they find a connection through the droids on Corellia, which Han Solo's home planet. Essentially this is where we get to where Rebels ended, where Sabine cuts off all her hair and it's all like, okay, let's do this Jedi training thing again. So blah. Meanwhile, poor Hera has to play politics essentially. So, which,
and you know how much these guys love playing politics.
Well, some of them
I mean that
do.
sarcastically.
Yeah, I mean,
Firmly
some of
ish.
them do. So, because of course, Hera is convinced that Thrawn is going to come back. Ahsoka is convinced that Thrawn's going. Everybody who's got any common sense is convinced that Thrawn's going to come back. Even Mon Mothma believes them, but she doesn't have the political power. We saw that in Andor, that she does have some influence, but not as much as you'd think. So, and as we saw in the last season of The Mandalorian, that there is also the Dark Council, but I don't think anybody on the council that we saw with Mon Mothma, anyone there is a Dark Council member. The ones that are being difficult, you know who you are. He's just playing politics. He's just he's like, I'm in this position of power, and I don't want to lose it. So thankfully he gets put in his place via a very stern message from Leia Organa, delivered via C-3PO, which was pretty awesome. So that was a surprise. I did not expect to see C-3PO live in person, and and to see Anthony Daniels put the suit back on, because theory he was done after Rise of Skywalker. So that's pretty cool. So yeah, if things had worked out a little different, Chopper and C-3PO could have crossed paths, but did not happen. Chopper was not in the same area at that moment. I love
Chopper and R2-D2 in the same room together. Now that would have
oh my goodness, no. I was watching someone's review video, and they were like, some people like to joke that R2-D2 is like, we only hear the beeps and boops because he's constantly being censored. Which is funny. But then they said the same thing about Chopper, and with Chopper, actually, I think it's more plausible, because just based on Chopper's body language, oftentimes it seems like he is probably cursing you out in Protocol Droid.
He is so done.
Oh my goodness! Like C-3PO, like R2 can give you a little bit of attitude. It's not the same as Chopper,
right?
There's something about Chopper that you just know that if he spoke the common tongue, that your ears would probably turn red from the severity of the language.
Right.
So it's probably like a good thing that they do not translate for those types of droids.
Right. So. It's just like R2 does that to only certain people he knows. He gives a certain amount of respect.
Yes. Chopper does it to everybody.
Yeah. He don't care.
Chopper does not care.
Listen up, punk.
That's why he's such a good droid for Hera to have. So
kindred spirits.
Yeah. Oh, and either Hera is just a cool mom, or she's not concerned about Chopper's language influencing her son.
She's probably thinking he's going to learn it somewhere. Might as well have him learn in the family.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So, and I do like that they again carried over Jason from the cartoon. So again, Jedi not supposed to have attachments.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Tell that to Kanan. Well, I mean, he's dead now, so but you could have told that to Kanan Jarrus, but he did not care, obviously. So because he and Hera did a little
Yeah. As the old saying goes, little Jedis have to come from somewhere.
Exactly. So, and Jason is already proving himself to be quite force sensitive and in tune with it. So, because it's because of him that they saved Ahsoka. Otherwise, she would have been, well, dead, stayed dead. So, because unfortunately, that fight with Baylor did not go very well. Or Balin did not go very well. But her going to the world between worlds, which again, from the cartoons, see how much you probably needed to be watching the cartoons to get some of this stuff. It's because she goes to the world between worlds, where she's technically dead, is where she meets up with. He's not a force ghost. He's something more than that, but it's Anakin. It's Hayden Christensen as Anakin, quote unquote, completing her Jedi training. They de-aged Hayden. I don't think they needed to. I don't think Hayden has aged enough for it to be significant for this particular instance, considering this is supposed to be Anakin. I know it's supposed to be Anakin as Ahsoka remembers it when she saw him last, which would have been a little younger, but at the same time, so much time has passed that if Anakin looked a little older, you could justify. It's kind of like when the Doctor meets himself, and it's a classic Doctor, so they're older, and it's more just, so much time has passed between that regeneration and this regeneration that I'm just seeing them with aging. Whether that aging actually took place or not. So, because to me, the de-aging looked a little off. That's my my
did.
complaint.
It looked very plasticky, and I mean, I don't know. I'm of two minds of the whole de-aging in general, because it's like, I think the best effects are the ones that don't call attention to themselves. And already, if you're de-aging an actor or actress who is like, a lot of years old, it's like, oh, you did that, and it kind of takes you out. But then again, I don't know. I think where, like, I don't think they needed to de-age Hayden. I think they could have, have him as he is now, and kind of call it, had he not gotten burned up and become Darth Vader and whatever, and he was allowed to age like he would have normally, this probably was what he would have looked like. As a, I don't know, what would he, let's see. How old was he in Revenge of the Sith? Pretty
Who,
sure
Hayden?
Well, Anakin.
Oh, Anakin.
I want to say Attack the Clones, he was like 19 or 20.
Yeah, because he's 9 in the first one. So
and then it's 10 years. So then there's the Clone Wars. 5 years? So you'd have been like mid 20s when the Darth Vadering happened, and then Luke is late teens, early 20s when A New Hope starts.
Mm-hmm.
So at this point, he could be late 40s, pushing 50, and
Mm-hmm.
it would be fine. Because now we're going with, like Force Ghost Anakin is Hayden
Which,
Christensen
I mean,
and not.
Hayden's
Yeah, anyway.
42 and he doesn't really look it. So,
No,
He
he doesn't.
yeah.
So it could have been, but yeah, even if you don't want to go you've got an older route, he doesn't look that old in real life. It would have been fine.
Yeah.
Maybe you put a wig on him. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
it's more distracting with the effect that's like, ooh, it's not great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, especially considering we're also dealing with an Ahsoka that's a lot older
Right.
and more mature. So, yeah.
Yeah.
It's just, that was like that. Yeah. It's like he first showed up and I was like, yay. And then I saw him and I'm like, ew.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, yeah, you want to give the audience some fan service, but and I'm okay with that. That's like, well, let's do it in a way that's not a slap in the face to all involved. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, which, I mean, once they started doing like the going into like the memories, it was less jarring. But when it's just the two of them, on the, the glass or whatever bridge that is the world, the world between worlds, it stands out a lot more. But yeah, the memories, it's not so bad because there's a lot of stuff going on because the memories they were going into were battles. So going into a battle during the Clone Wars, which we get Tamara really, really quickly doing the voice of one of the clone troopers because that's where the clone troopers came from. Was Mr. Fett. So he's the voice of all of them. So so seeing that then another battle right before the siege on Mandalore, so those didn't bother me as much, but yeah. That being said, still cool to see the two of them together. So it's like it's Flyboy and Snips. Oh, and it's like at first it was like, it's like, he's gonna complete her training, and then it's like, because this is we're seeing Anakin Skywalker, but as far as in universe, Anakin / Darth Vader is now dead because this is post the OG trilogy. So Anakin in theory turned back to the light right before he died because of the compassion of his son, of Luke Skywalker. But Ahsoka, because whoever Filoni or whoever has not come out to necessarily explain what this particular apparition is, we kind of have to make some deductions because he's not a Force ghost, because he's not blue. But also because of what he's able to do, the fact that he's able to physically fight Ahsoka, which, as far as we know, is we know some Force ghosts do have the ability to manipulate things. I mean, we saw Yoda set the library on fire, in in The Last Jedi. So so Force Ghosts, they do have some abilities, but the manipulation of like time and being able to go through these different memories and stuff lends to this as something more than a Force Ghost, but he's not quite like one of like the what are they called, the Mortis gods. So he's something special, which is Anakin in itself, because he's a child of the Force to begin with, and that's kind of the reason that people hand wave a lot of stuff off when it comes to Anakin Skywalker. But the fact that he goes from like, you know, I'm here to finish your training, Snips, to, you know, him barreling down on her and seeing flashes of him as Darth Vader with his when we first see him, his lightsaber is not red yet, but by the time they get through these memories and he's, you know, attacking her, his lightsaber blade is now red. So somewhere in, you know, my kind of headcanon is that Ahsoka never saw, while she knows Anakin became Darth Vader, and therefore she knows he turned to the dark side, she never saw him redeemed, and therefore she's not getting a redeemed version of him in this situation. That's kind of my head canon explanation, because this is, he knows this Anakin knows everything that happened to him up until he died, and also knows what happened after he died. You know, he knows the past, present, and future. So he knows that actual human him was redeemed, saw redemption, but why is he not showing that character trait to Ahsoka? She obviously doesn't deserve it for any reason. So is she bringing it upon herself or what? So somebody smarter than me can figure that out.
Yeah.
So, but it was, like, again, it was nice to see the two of them together, and I'm glad that, you know, when it got to the point where Ahsoka had to decide whether to stay essentially dead or go on living, you know, she makes the decision to live, because that was Anakin's really downfall, is he was so afraid of death, not only for himself but for his loved ones, in this case, you know, Padme. Meanwhile, Ahsoka is like, I face death, I don't fear death, but I want to live. And that's what brings her back. And it's Jason that helps rescue her when she returns. So good Jason. So, and the theory is, when Jason's a little old actually to start Jedi training, but you know, life's been a little weird. So, but I've seen the theory that it will be Ahsoka will not take him on as an apprentice, that it might be someone else. So, like, you know, Luke with his academy. So, which, you know, he lost Grogu as a student, so there's an open seat.
Yep.
No, but we end up getting to travel to the other universe thanks to the space whales. Officially the Purgle but I like to call them space whales. So, because that's what they are. They are space whales. So,
Yes.
But since they have the ability to able to go to fly through hyperspace, you need to get somewhere and you don't have the ability, hitch a ride with a space whale, but only if you ask nicely. So, which that's exactly what Ezra did. All the during that battle with Thrawn, he had made nice with the space whales, as we saw in Rebels. And he's like, "Hey, can you get this guy out of here?" And they were like, "Sure." He just happened to go along with. So but since the space whales have been there before, it was easy enough for Ahsoka to hitch a ride and go to the same place. So all the way off to what's it called? The Denab system. So, which comes from those video games that I mentioned earlier. So,
yep.
And that's where we find Thrawn and the witches.
And if memory serves, I think Lando might have had a little something going into Nab too. Memory serves, or is that some?
I can't imagine so, because it's just so far away.
Or it sounded very similar because.
Well, yeah, Jedi, with Lando's accent, who knows?
Yeah,
what do you say?
So I could have been I could have misheard.
Yeah,
it ended in an app. Let's just put it that way.
Yep. So, but yeah. So yes, we see Thrawn and the witches. I keep calling them the witches. I know they have a proper name.
Yeah, it's like the sisters of no, I can't remember what the planet's called. Dathomir,
yeah.
That's it.
Yes, so
little call back to the courtship of Princess Leia.
Yeah,
yes.
And they are actually Force users as well. They call their Force use magic, but it is just another. It's just the way they have figured out how to manipulate and use the Force. And I will say that I made a comment in the chat at one point saying, in a world like Star Wars, where we have something as amazing as the Force, having witches and witchcraft seems a little, I forget the word I used, but like anticlimactic, because I did not know what I was talking about. I was speaking without having all the info. Then I saw what they were actually capable of, and then I immediately in the chat was like, I take back everything I said about the witches.
Yeah. Well, they can be forced to part of the pun, to be reckoned with.
Yes.
Well, and you remember, like, back to even A New Hope, when they're all like, you know, Darth Vader is force choking, and Tarkin is all like, you're all that exists of their religion. The Jedi are extinct, and then like treat, and the one guy is like, your sorcerer's ways, Lord Vader, and so I mean, people who don't understand or don't know what the Force is or don't understand like Jedi culture are like, it's just magic, it's sorcerer, and so the sisters of Dathomir, it's like, well, okay, yeah, if you don't understand what this is, magic. That's how we explain it.
Well, it's not that. It's not that. It's just I was not that. What little magic they'd used to that point didn't seem that impressive, because they were really just like the star map to find Thrawn, and all this stuff. And it wasn't until like the second to last episode or something like that where I was like, oh, okay, zombies. Alrighty.
It's October. It's Halloween. Sure.
Yep.
Yeah. Like, it's like, at Grand Admiral Thrawn, you've been thrown all the way to another star system. It's going to be quite a while before you get rescued. What are you going to do? Well, I'm going to take this coven of witches and we're going to build ourselves a big ass zombie army. And that's exactly what he's done. They've taken, I guess anyone that was living on that planet and anyone that happened to come across that planet, they destroyed them. And whatever forces Thrawn had with him at the time that he also got flung across the systems, all are now zombie stormtroopers, thanks to the sisters, and anyone else they kill along the way, they can also turn into zombies that are not, they're harder to kill than regular stormtroopers. They take they're very much like zombies. You kind of have to cut off the head to be able to stop them. So but the thing is Thrawn has a lot of zombies ready to go. That crew, that Star Destroyer, obviously, the storage is one section of these starships, but just in case, the shot of all the caskets or boxes or zombie booster packs or whatever you want to call them, are as far as the eye can see. Here's this for reference: that Star Destroyer is 5,200 feet long. Wow. It's 14 and a half NFL football fields.
Yowza.
That's a lot.
It had, and if it was the crew was alive, it has a capacity for a little over 9,200 officers, almost 28,000 enlisted personnel, and almost 300 gunners. So, 14 and a half football fields long, and it's full of ready to go zombie stormtroopers. So when Thrawn shows up to his intended destination, surprise.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, there's zombie stormtroopers. I did not have that on my bingo card, but sure, why not? So, and then once again, Ezra, who is finally reunited with his buddies, his friends, well, a couple of them. Obviously Hera is back in the other star system. But he ends up hitching a ride with Thrawn again to get back, and then gets reunited with Hera after Chopper vouches for who he is. Because everybody else is like, he's wearing a Stormtrooper outfit, and Chopper's like, so glad to see you. Meanwhile, Ahsoka and Huang and Sabine are stuck for now until they can hitch a ride with the Star Wheels again to get back. But Thrawn's gonna get there first, and that's trouble with a capital T that stands for Thrawn. And Z for zombies.
Yep.
So, and at the same time, Balin has parted ways with his apprentice. She wants to destroy Ahsoka and everybody. He's got his own mission to hunt down the Mortis gods, because that's important. Which it is if you're a force wielder. The Mortis gods are force wielders, and Mortis is considered like a very, very strong, like it's a word. It's a realm of the Force. So it's a realm within the Force, but it's very, very, and some people think that that's where the Force came from. So it's supposed to be very, 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 very strong. So if you've got a bad guy like Balin that could find it and tap into it, that's bad. Bad juju. So it'd be interesting to see. I'm assuming that because that seems like it's going to be an important plot point. Unfortunately, Ray Stevenson, who plays Balin, actually died.
Yeah. It's unfortunate.
Not long after they finished filming. So yeah, he died back in May. So I'm assuming they're just gonna recast. They're gonna pull a Dumbledore and just recast him, because it seems like that's a plot point that they're not gonna just drop.
No.
They'll just have to recast him, unfortunately. But yeah, so watch out. Our star system, Hera, Leia, all those people, because Thrawn's coming with zombies and witches.
Yeah. And they be hungry.
Yeah. And he's out for revenge, really. He had power and he wants it. He wants it back. I saw somebody, again, in the review videos I was watching, said that Thrawn is not necessarily a Empire loyalist. He was just loyal to. He hitched himself to whatever team seemed to be the winning team, as far as power is concerned.
Yeah, I'd buy
that. At first, it was somewhat self-preservation because he wanted to protect his people, the Chiss. So when he originally met Anakin, there's a whole story you can look that up and read it if you want. But that was during near the end of the Clone Wars. The Chiss were under threat, so he went to look for allies and or technology, and that's where he met Anakin, who ended up on the same planet because there was a separatist base. And Anakin was there to destroy it. Thrawn agreed to help Anakin on his mission in exchange for allowing him to take the shield generator, as the Chiss did not have such tech. But then Thrawn joined the Empire, got the rank of Grand Admiral, which is one step below because you got the Emperor and then Grand Moff and then Grand Admiral. So he's a step below Grand Moff. And then the Emperor set Thrawn and Vader on a mission together. And their mission actually took them back to that same planet where Thrawn had originally met Anakin, and he was able to put 2 and 2 together and figured out that Darth Vader used to be Anakin Skywalker. Hence his eyebrow raising when he realized that Ahsoka used to be Anakin's Padawan, because he's one of a few people that actually know Darth Vader's origin of who he was before. So, but yeah, so things are gonna get interesting. I'm very interested to see where this goes. So, because like I said, Thrawn he's willing to play the long game, to get what he wants, and he's been able to play all sides up to a point. It's just the fight with Ezra just put a big old pause on things while he was temporarily relocated. But now he's back. He's ready to do what he does, but it's not necessarily in name of the Empire. So, because he's labeled, everybody calls him the heir to the Empire. Now, obviously, he will take that if it, because it obviously that makes people nervous. So whether he actually is a true loyalist of the Empire doesn't matter. If the title works in his favor, obviously he's going to run with it. But I'll be interested to see what he is planning, and presumably what he does is going to eventually lead into the First Order. Is where the First Order is going to grow from. So, I mean, we're still several decades from The Force Awakens and all of that, but still, the First Order had to come from somewhere,
right?
And if Thrawn is the bridge between the Emperor, although the Emperor does come back, but you know what I mean, from the first Empire, the Emperor the first time, and the First Order with Snoke and all of that stuff, Star Killer, all the stuff that comes in the sequels. So
somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
We'll wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll have to
We'll
wait. Like I
see.
said, everything's written in pencil. So
yeah,
as it
That's
should
true.
be. But
Yeah.
But I thoroughly enjoyed watching it. Again, I liked the Rebels cartoon so much, so it was so much fun to see these characters in live action form. Obviously at some point we're going to need to bring presumably in either the next season of The Mandalorian and or season 2 of Ahsoka, we're gonna have to bring them all together with Zeb. So
yeah,
because right now Zeb is over in Mandalorian and then everybody else is over here in Ahsoka, and it's like, no, we need Zeb back with everybody else where he belongs. So we need the complete family reunion.
Yep. We'll get there.
Yeah. And until
Maybe.
then, there's all sorts of extended universe stuff you can look into to keep yourself occupied. So I need to read the Thrawn novels. So
Yeah.
I know they're not going to pull. It's not going to be exact how they're going to pull from them, but it seems like it's from what people are speculating. It seems like it should be a lot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're not going to pull like one or two things from the novels. It's going to be quite a bit. So.
Yeah. Well, we will see. We'll see how this all shakes out. It's a lot going on.
Yeah.
All right. Well, if any of our listeners want to chime in on their thoughts on Ahsoka, Thrawn, Rebels, Knights of the Old Republic, however far back you want to go, just add to the conversation if you would. You could send us in some feedback. Our email address is fiveishfangirls@gmail.com. You can also find us at our website, which is thefivishfangirls.com. And that has links to our social media. It has our show notes, places to leave comments, which we will treat as feedback as well, if you feel so inclined. There's also links to our YouTube channel, which Rachel mentioned earlier. There's some new content over there, so go check that out. A lot of fun, a lot of cool stuff, con related things. So check all that out. And if you want to support us, you can support us financially if you are able to. You can support us through our Patreon and also our merch shop, which again, linked to on our website. And thank you again for listening. We love we love knowing that we have listeners and people enjoying what we do. And so thank you for listening and supporting us in any way that you do. We love that you're here. So.
All right. Well, standard Jedi protocol says now.
Right.
I'm not David Tennant. Says that we shall sign off for this week.
This is Chrissy saying goodnight from Salt Lake City.
This is Holly from Wisconsin saying good evening.
And this is Rachel in Indianapolis, Indiana. And if you want to get a little ahead for next week for Halloween, if you want to know what we're watching in discussion, I'll give you a little hint. 2 words. Feed me.
Thank you for listening to the Fiveish Fangirls. Please visit thefiveishfangirls.com for details on how to further support the show, along with information on our nonprofit, Fangirls Give Back. We love our Fiveish fam and appreciate all of your feedback, shares, and encouragement. Remember to keep letting your geek flag fly.